Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I'm asking the question, do you hate selfies or taking them? And you might want to rethink that if you don't, because they could actually save your life. And here's what's going on, and I think this is absolutely fascinating. Now, this is coming from Study Finds, which I always love this website, but according to a new study in the European Heart Journal, selfies can do more than just show off your face. In fact, they might actually be able to help your doctor diagnose heart disease if you have it. Scientists using an AI can detect coronary artery disease using 4 pictures from your face. Now, here's what's going on. Certain facial features have been previously linked to higher risks for heart disease, including things like thinning or gray hair. I should probably get checked. Wrinkles or creases in the earlobes. And obviously this has me a little paranoid. Now, other signs include something called xanthelmasta, or xanthelmasata. I think that's how I'm pronouncing that right. Basically, that means bumpy yellow patches on the inside corner of the eyelids, and arcus cornea, or gray or blue rings around the cornea. Now, despite the warning signals, the study finds that it's difficult for doctors to successfully diagnose heart disease using these features alone. And so, basically, there is an organization out of Beijing, China, that is doing just this with AI. Now, in order to develop their algorithm, the researchers recruited 5,796 patients across 8 Chinese hospitals between 2017 and 2019. All of these patients underwent angiograms, which is basically a blood vessel imaging procedure to detect things like the coronary artery disease. Researchers then took 4 photos from the front, the sides, and overhead before interviewing each patient about their medical history. Radiologists also look at the patient's angiogram to determine the extent of blood vessel narrowing, which apparently is one of the symptoms of this. Blood vessel narrowing is, like as I mentioned, an indicator. So once the algorithm was created, the authors then tested it on 1,013 patients across these 9 Chinese hospitals, and they find that their algorithm correctly identified those with heart disease 80% of the time. Researchers are cautioning at the moment, though, that their invention or their AI still has a false positive rate, though, of around 50%. They're obviously very honing this, or they're in the process, rather, of honing this, but that is very promising results. And so I think that's very fascinating. But we also have to talk about the possible privacy issues here, because while their findings are promising, the researchers note that there are ethical implications that are a factor in developing and disseminating this technology, because when it comes to a patient's likeness and their personal photos, we obviously have to take privacy into account. Obviously, every country has their own privacy laws as it regards just information in general, let alone health information. In the United States, we have HIPAA here, for example. But this is something that I find very interesting and potentially very promising and life-saving. And so my thoughts on this are simply this. I can envision a future medical or health app that would allow you to take pictures of your face and then pair it with, let's say, a smart band that would allow essentially an artificial intelligence to give you a diagnosis. That is what we're talking about here. Essentially, your smartphone and your smart band could essentially eliminate, let's say, potentially that first round diagnosis by a doctor, which obviously would save money and time and could possibly catch symptoms, especially if you are a bit of a hypochondriac and taking selfies of yourself, I don't know, every day just to check for this kind of thing. But as they improve this artificial intelligence's recognition and diagnosis, and they hone it to improve it to, let's say, an almost or near 100% accuracy, we may actually have the ability to start self-diagnosing and then send those results to actual medical professionals, send it to our doctor to get better, more effective, and quicker treatment. This is what technology is supposed to be about, and I find this absolutely fascinating because I am not a fan of selfies. I take very few unless I'm on some, epic trip or something along those lines. But I think on social media, you've probably never seen me do one in the last, let's say, 3 years or so. But we might actually start taking selfies, not for vanity reasons, as half the planet does, but for actual health and life improvement reasons. And I think that's a reason why we should probably continue to keep selfies around, although I don't follow Instagram or any of that stuff, but you tell me. But that is your interesting news of this Friday, and I think this has the potential, as well as other abilities, as we improve the camera resolutions, as we improve artificial intelligence, as we improve the effectiveness of our smart bands. And Amazon has a new one coming out that's supposed to be state of the art, even understanding your emotional state. So if you're pissed off, Amazon's going to know about it. That is insane. But as we continue to develop these things, we are going to continue to develop this new technology that could potentially save our lives. The balance that we have to make sure is that we are maintaining privacy while we do it, that we are not having an app that is going to data mine us and send our information back to Facebook because they've integrated the Facebook API or the Google API or Amazon or anything along those lines. We need to make sure that we are doing this in an ecosystem, and I would be more than happy to pay, let's say, for something like this, month to month, providing I knew that my data was secure and it actually had a vetting process validated by that. So as we develop these new things, we also make sure we have to balance that and marry that with our security and privacy. But that is a really cool invention, and I think some pretty good news for 2020, and Lord knows we could all use that. And so that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.